Very good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So this is more of an in-depth analysis and a case study on Mark Eteson, how we unlocked high performance and how we took him from square one to shredded in 9 months, leading into our first photo shoot in 2023. So a little bit more about Mark. Who is Mark? So Mark lives out here in Las Vegas. He is a DJ and music producer and just a creative genius all around. He's got his finger in many, many pies. He just looks to excel in every area of his life. And that is something that we focused on, how he was pushing success, but he neglected his health. So that was a big, big thing for us, not to take any time away that he puts in to kind of promoting and working on his businesses and making even more success, but being able to put that time and effort and energy into his fitness and health, which is going to bring more success to everything that he does. So where was Mark before? Mark tried to get in shape countless times, but his results always yo-yoed. His training, his nutrition was very, very inconsistent, and he was lacking support, structure, accountability, and he never saw any substantial progress or lasting progress for that matter. He was tired of feeling drained, demotivated, and lacking confidence in both his body and how he saw himself in the mirror. So like I said before, a lot of very successful people in whatever field they work in, they put a lot of time, effort, energy into making their businesses a success. But what happens when they do that, more often than not, they neglect their health. So that was a very key point for us to really push that. So then Mark obviously knew it was time to make a change. Mark decided to invest into his health and fitness, determined to transform his outlook on life and his lifestyle. And that's exactly what we did. So going into his nutrition and training, before starting, Mark's nutrition was all over the place. So obviously, as you can imagine, DJing hours all over, like throughout the day, pool parties, at night finishing at 5 a.m. So we had to understand how to be versatile with our meal timings and understand stuff like digestion, how that responds to the body when we eat at different times, but also making sure that he had energy to perform on his gigs or producing or whatever it was. So we took away from like conveniency in eating on the go to spending more time meal prepping and just developing his knowledge and education throughout everything around nutrition, which excelled his energy, his productivity, and his general well-being, in all honesty. Mark did have some training experience. His approach lacked structure and consistency. He would train whenever he felt like it with no set days or plan, and his exercise form needed significant improvement. He was following an old-fashioned bro split, like many of us have done or are currently still doing, targeting minimal muscle groups per session and hitting each group only once per week, which is not optimizing muscle growth at all. Instead of tracking his workouts, he would just wing it. He would just go in, do what either wasn't sore, or he'd just go and get a pump and leave. Second guessing himself and doing whatever he felt like. And Mark's not alone. I've been there before, and I'm pretty sure anyone watching this video back has been there before themselves. To start, we needed to establish a routine. Okay, so that would help him build better habits and gain a deeper understanding of nutrition as a whole, the micronutrition, digestion, sleep, and training. So we started from the ground up, literally from square one. Re-establishing his routine, his structure, and then the further education on each thing that he implemented, and be like, right, you're doing this because how is this making you feel? Really developing his education, so then it would literally be a lesson for life. And then what we did with that lesson is just develop it. I created a detailed meal plan, specifically tailored to his needs for progress, but also designed to fit into his day and be realistic for him to stick to. What we actually started out with that I haven't put on here is that we went down the route of using MyFitnessPal with calorie tracking, with set macros and calories and meal suggestions from me. But what we realized is that because Mark is super busy, it was more of a case of it just needed to be told what to do. The education was still there, but he didn't really respond well with the flexibility. So we developed this kind of method in the sense that it was more rigid, and it was literally a simple plan. Stick to it, we see results. And there was lots of adjustments and everything that we'll go into in a sec. Like it says on the last point there, along the way we also educated Mark about nutrition, giving him tools and knowledge for long-term success and sustainable habits he could carry for life, which is the key. So as we go into the nutrition and training setup, Mark looking absolutely whammed out of his skin. We divided Mark's nutrition into two types of days, one for training and one for rest. So a training day and a non-training day meal plan. Each day had specific macro and calorie targets to match his activity level. On training days, the focus was on recovery and fueling his body to perform at its best. On rest days, we aimed for a calorie deficit, keeping his protein intake high while reducing carbs. So that means on training day, carbs are a little bit higher to facilitate recovery and push performance even better. Mark trained 4 days a week plus football once a week, so I created a personalised training split that targeted every muscle group multiple times a week without neglecting performance of football and allowing recovery from football. This plan was set up in our app where he could access form videos for each exercise and track his progress across all sessions. It's worth noting as well that Mark got in this insane shape with limited equipment as well. He lives on the Las Vegas Strip, so we were using his apartment gym. Still got a decent amount of equipment, but what we did was just utilize everything that he had because we don't. That's the main thing. We just utilize what we have and then progress with what we have. Throughout his transformation, like I said previously, we adjusted his nutrition targets several times based on his progress and rate of fat loss. Always making sure his performance and energy levels were maintained to help him excel in both training and daily life. So this would mean adjusting his macro split. We always kept protein high, but as we were getting in photoshoot condition, the more fat he dropped, the more the calories would have to come down, and then we would even code his carbs even more surrounding certain sessions and also certain kind of gigs, or if he had a big producing day, creating music or coaching or mentoring, whatever it was, we would give him slightly more carbs for that extra bit of energy. Then what we go into is the progress assessment and check-ins. This is a vital part of anyone's journey. Mark had access to our app where he could view his plans, log his workouts, habits, and key data daily. This included tracking his activity, scale weight, progress pictures, sleep, and more. This is our client's hub. This is where they can see all of their data, all of their progress, and when we go on and use that, and we use it as our kind of our diary, it just creates structure, it creates routine, and when we create that structure and be consistent with our routine, it creates momentum. And when we have momentum in the right direction, we're a force to be reckoned with. Each week, he had a designated check-in day to submit a detailed review, covering his progress, mindset, sleep, training performance, nutrition adherence, and other important areas, such as stress, support systems, all these things that actually matter a lot more than what people may think. Using this data, I was able to assess his progress and identify areas for improvement. I made necessary adjustments to his nutrition or training and provided feedback to him to keep him on track. This allowed us to set him up the following week with clear action points to continue making insane progress. So what I do is basically cross-examine the data on our app with Mark's feedback or with the client's feedback from their check-in form. And usually it paints a really clear picture of where they're struggling and where we can push a little bit more and where we need to pull back. And also, more often than not, the way Mark thought he was doing was very different to the data, in the sense that he thought he was underperforming, but then when we looked at the data, he was actually exceeding performance, but it was the mental and the mindset that he was going through the week. So that was a big thing for me and Mark, is to delve deep into kind of building that resilience, building that trust within himself that he is doing a good job, because he's absolutely smashed it. And once you build that trust within yourself and have that self-leadership and lead by example that you would want to follow, everything else just flows. This is Mark's after shot. Well, before and after shot. Mark was consistently receiving compliments about his life-changing transformation. He became the fittest, strongest, and most confident he had ever been. With a renewed sense of purpose, he delivered the drive to succeed in every area of his life and career. I know this firsthand because me and Mark have been friends now for over 2.5 years, or 2.5 years. We used to play football together, And seeing him grow, not just with his physique, but his mindset and mentality towards everything that he puts his mind to is absolutely amazing to see. He is unbelievably positive. He supports everyone around him, but he doesn't neglect himself and his own progress and his own health and his own fitness, which is amazing. And before we started working together, that was a key area where Mark, like I wouldn't have said that about Mark, but after he continuously trusted in me and worked on himself, he's literally transformed his mindset completely. For me, that's the biggest achievement, along with obviously the visual, which is, well, it speaks for itself. He built lasting habits and skills that he can carry with him for the rest of his life. So after the shoot in 2023, he went through key kind of nutrition and training phases. So we went into a lean bulk, maintenance, and deloads. We matched that with holidays, Christmases, key events in his life, to make sure that we were staying on track, but also he enjoyed his life and lifestyle, and had a few beers and whatever that he wanted to do, he could do, because we had that flexibility and that freedom. But when we needed to lock in, we locked in. Now we are currently 60 days out from our second photo shoot, and if you go on my Instagram, Tom Watch Training, you'll be able to see the difference from when he was 60 days out in the shoot in 2023 to 60 days out in 2025, and it is crazy. And this goes back to being locked in, having purpose, and trusting the process, and again, the results speak for themselves. His knowledge of training performance and recovery, the role of nutrition in the body, and the importance of habits for life change and high performance has absolutely skyrocketed. His form alone has gone through the roof. Everything about Mark, the way he shows up as his best self every day, and the way he honestly is just completely transparent and honest. If he didn't like something, or he didn't like a meal, or if he wasn't feeling a workout, or whatever it was, he would tell me straight away. And then we would talk about it. That's where the education, more education and knowledge going into what area that needed to be talked about and educated on, which has allowed Mark to develop this catalogue of endless knowledge to just continue to make progress for the last 2 years, which is insane. And even though he's changed his life, he changed his life within 9 months, he's continued to do that over the last 2 years. Because Mark joined the team in February 2023, and so this is February 2023, this is November 2023. But since then, Mark's developed a whole lot more. And the main one for me, well, one of the main ones, we actually reduced his metabolic age by over 10 years. And just by looking at his face in both those pictures, you can see that. So that is Mark's journey. And if you want any more information on Mark directly, or how we got this and how we can tailor it to you, feel free to reach out. Tom Watch Training is my Instagram, and I will happily help you and point you in the right direction. Take care, and thanks for watching.